C2E2 in Chicago. We are joined, to my left, your right, by Vivek Tiwary.
Hello.
He is the author of a brand new graphic novel that's going to be coming out this fall.
That's right.
Called The Fifth Beatle.
Yeah.
Now, for those people who don't know the rock and roll history, tell them who the Fifth Beatle is.
Sure. We're going with Paul McCartney's quote, who said, if anyone was the fifth Beatle, it was Brian. And he was referring to Brian Epstein, who was the band's manager. Brian discovered the band in a cellar in Liverpool at the famous Cavern Club. They were a very popular Liverpool band, but the rest of the world really didn't know what Brian saw. He walked away thinking that the Beatles were going to be bigger than Elvis, which in 1961 was a pretty absurd thing to say, especially for somebody like Brian, who was gay, Jewish, and from Liverpool, which were three very significant strikes against him. So he was an outsider.
And apparently he was a sage and a seer, because he got that one right.
He was, for sure. He was a visionary.
Okay, writing this graphic novel, and I understand you've got the front page, the splash page for it. So why don't you show the folks that real quick so they can get an idea. Excellent artwork, by the way. Who did the artwork?
So that is the front cover, artwork by Andrew C. Robinson. Andrew's amazing. There's also a sequence in the book that's drawn by Kyle Baker, who's also fantastic. As you can tell, Andrew's work is very painterly. Kyle's work, which we haven't displayed publicly yet, we will tomorrow. We're going to be debuting it publicly tomorrow. But Kyle's pages is a tribute to the old Beatles cartoons. So they're very cartoony. They're very different from Andrew's pages. So two fabulous artists doing two very different types of art. So I'm very excited about it.
What brought this up? What made you want to do a graphic novel in the life of Brian Epstein?
Yeah, so I discovered the Brian Epstein story when I was in business school. I am currently a writer and a producer of film, television, and theater. I've been doing that for about 14 years. And before that I was working for record labels. But going all the way back, I was in business school, dreaming about doing what I'm doing now. And I thought that if I'm going to be working in the entertainment industry, I should study some of the great entertainment visionaries. Being a lifelong Beatles fan and somebody who thought that Brian and the Beatles kind of wrote and rewrote the rules of the pop music business, I thought I should study the life of Brian Epstein. And that's what led me to a study of Brian. And being a lifelong comic book fan as well, and a fan of film, I thought that the way that I wanted to tell the story would lend itself quite gracefully to the comic book and film mediums. So that's why I went about making the Fifth Beatle.
Okay, so you've already gotten out there, you're a big Beatles fan.
Very much.
Got to ask the question, what is your favorite Beatles album?
Oh, you know, part of why I love the Beatles is all those records are so different. You know, if I was forced to pick a desert island Beatles disc, I would probably pick Abbey Road.
That is incorrect.
But it would be a tough question.
Revolver.
Revolver's brilliant.
Revolver.
They're all brilliant. But Abbey Road would probably be the one that I would pick if I had to, if you forced me to.
Now, Dark Horse is going to publish this. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with Dark Horse, how they got involved.
Dark Horse, they've been amazing. Mike Richardson, their CEO, founder, and publisher, is a huge Beatles fan, and you know, he has been incredibly passionate about this book. I've definitely found the right partners in Dark Horse. But Andrew Robinson and I, the artist and I, we really set about to do the book. Initially, we set about to do it independently. You know, coming out of the music industry, I've been a big believer in DIY and do it yourself. I never wait around for people to make a pitch and them to greenlight something and then to do it. So Andrew and I started doing it, and we were about 15-20 pages in, and word got out that Andrew, who's a very well-respected artist in comics, that Andrew was doing a Beatles book, and that Kyle Baker was also involved. And you know, I've got a pretty good track record myself, not in writing graphic novels, but I produced Green Day's American Idiot and The Addams Family, and some very successful shows. So word got out in the comic book world that this book was happening and that there was a strong creative team behind it. And I was in the wonderful position that I was starting to get calls, really from all the major graphic novel companies. And so I met. They wanted the book before it was even done, and I met with them all. And Dark Horse really were the most passionate about it, and Mike being such a huge Beatles fan, it just made sense that they were the right place for it. And just very quickly to give credit where it is due, Michael Martins, who's Dark Horse's head of sales, I met him at Book Expo about 3 years ago, and I wasn't pitching the project, and we met over a drink, and I told Michael about it, and he said, you know, my publisher Mike is really into the Beatles. I'd love to talk to him about it. I said, sure. And the rest, as they say, is history, and here we are.
Would you pass when the Fifth Beatle comes out sometime this fall? We discussed. What do do you see as like the next project? Would you continue doing, say, music graphic novels? See, I mean,
yeah,
to do it with a bad pun, it seems like a novel idea.
It's a good question. You know, as I said, I've been writing and producing film, television, and theater for the past 14 years. So, and part of what's exciting about what I do is that there's never a repetitive moment, really. You know, I'm always on to different projects. Right now, in addition to the Fifth Beatle, I am developing a film and television adaptation of the graphic novel series Amelia Rules. It's a children's series. It's been a New York Times best-selling series written by Jimmy Gownley, nominated for multiple Eisners. It's very popular amongst kids, and I believe that's going to be a television show. We've got some really exciting interest from some major children's networks, but we are looking at both television and film for that. So that is going to be my most immediate next project. And that project, Amelia is a 9-year-old girl. She's from Manhattan initially. Her parents get divorced at the beginning of the series, and she and her mom move to a small town in Pennsylvania, and they move in with the mother's younger sister, who is the hot, cool, younger, former rock star aunt. So the Aunt Tanner, that character, is a major character in the series, and she's a former rock star. So Amelia is also full of music. So all of my projects tend to have some sort of musical chord to it, but quite specifically, the next thing that I'm doing is Amelia Rules.
All right, we're going to finish up. I want you to tell the people where they can follow Vivek Tiwary online, to follow the project of the Fifth Beatle and all your other projects. Where can they follow you online and follow the progress of the Fifth Beatle?
Thank you. You can follow the progress of the Fifth Beatle at fifthbeatle.com, www.fifthbeatle.com. There you'll also find links to our Facebook page. We also have a very active Twitter feed, which is at Fifth Beatle. And you can follow my exploits at our company website, which is tiwaryent.com, TIWARYENT.com, or at my Twitter feed, which is at Vivek J. Tiwary. It's VIVEKJTIWARY. So thank you. I would love to stay in touch with all of you.
All right, best of luck, Tiwary. Thanks for joining us on Johnny's Beat.
Thank you for having me.
Best of luck to the Fifth Beatle.
Thank you guys so much. It's been a joy.